With a WWE star set to leave the promotion and more, this is Wrestling Rambles. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report. Before we move on, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Rambles with notifications on, and don't forget to like the video. Recalling his prior move from TNA to WWE in January of 2008, Chris Harris told Steve Fall of Ringside News, "I had a dark match one time and then I started spending the majority of the weeks in Florida in the developmental system. There's certainly something you have to go through to learn the style of WWE. I could sit here today and say I don't know what that is because I never learned it. I wasn't there long enough. I was willing to go down there, but a lot of that was just training. It's hard to explain. I didn't go down there, especially at 35 or 36 years old, and start doing 1,000 bumps a day. I was ready to wrestle. I had been in the business 15 years and had my experience with TNA and TV, so if it's developmental, let's develop me for what you have ready for me. Instead, I was just down there beating my body up. At that point, I needed to start counting my bumps. I didn't know how many I was going to have left and could potentially have the best years right in front of me. Once something was said about doing TV, I think my first match was with Armando, and we did the vignettes in the back. That was actually the first time I met Bruce, and he just seemed so uninterested. We saw the result of that. It was just a train wreck with those promos. They didn't have anything ready for me. They had no preparation. They didn't know what they wanted to do. You asked about the name, and to be honest, I know the name gets shot at a lot, and that's okay because I feel like that's coming from my loyal Wildcat Chris Harris fans. But I knew coming from TNA, it just wasn't normal to come in with your name. So I assumed going into WWE that Wildcat Chris Harris wasn't coming with me and that there was going to be a name change. It wasn't like I could make something because I didn't know what WWE had in mind. Everything I had said Wildcat on it, so it was thrown together that day. A basic black singlet, and when you're making a first impression, that's why people don't forget that. It's been 15 or 17 years, and people don't forget that. My first impression was terrible, but I felt like it was important to say that at the time. It didn't matter what they were going to throw at me. I just felt like I could get something done. Even the promos have been talked about a lot. My first promo there, Bruce gave me one line, I did it, and then they'd change it up. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. We did so many takes, and they kept changing the lines to where it was driving me crazy. Just tell me what you want and I'll make it work somehow. It's crazy to think we wound up settling on knock your brain out. Could it get any worse than that? It didn't come across well. It was a billion-dollar company with a creative team, and that's what they came up with. Bruce Pritchard, who I respect for everything he's done, puts it 100% on me like I didn't know how to cut a promo. Anybody that's watched my work knows that's not true. He just seemed uninterested in anything going on. All of these variables made it a failed experiment. They didn't have any plans or ideas. I didn't want to overstep my bounds, but I did throw out some different ideas. I had a meeting with the creative team, and Johnny was my contact, so I was talking to him about some things. Everything that was talked about may have sounded like a great idea at the time, but by the next week, they'd say, no, we're not going to do that. It was a very frustrating time. It wore on me. It affected me personally, and I felt like my career was going down the toilet. It tore me up. I was about to head into probably the darkest days of my life. When you're out of that wrestling bubble and trying to figure yourself out, it's very hard. I wasn't necessarily ready for anything. I needed to refocus and get myself better. Once I reached out to TNA, I found out they were still pissed off about me leaving. There wasn't any opportunity on the table. All I wanted to do was go home, and my home was TNA. I wanted to go back there, but it's funny because so many people switch companies in wrestling. Jeff Jarrett was still in charge, and I almost wanted to say, Jeff, are you kidding me? You, of all people, have switched so many times. There was interest there, so I knew that wasn't it. I thought maybe I'd have to do the indies or something like that. It really took a toll on me. I felt embarrassed, defeated, like a failure. All the times in my career when I took a chance on myself, it paid off. This was probably one of the first times where I took a chance on myself and just completely failed. For information regarding the health of WWE star Gigi Dolin, Ringside News noted that recently seen alongside Ariana Grace in various segments, Dolin's storyline took an abrupt halt as Grace ventured into new angles on NXT television. This sudden shift was confirmed by Fightful Select's Sean Ross Sapp and Corey Brennan, attributing it to Dolin's knee injury, which became apparent when she was spotted wearing a knee brace, sparking speculation among fans. It was later revealed that Dolin's program with Grace had been dropped, with Sapp confirming her continued association with the company. Discussions about Dolin's potential transition to the main roster had been ongoing, fueled by her appearances on WWE's main event. Notably, Dolin made appearances on 2 episodes of SmackDown in 2022 and featured in 3 episodes of main event between December 2023 and January 2024. Dolin had been absent backstage at several tapings, opting to film her segments with Grace outside the WWE Performance Center, a strategy reportedly employed to maintain her presence on TV during her injury hiatus. Since her loss to Grace on the March 12th edition of NXT, Dolin has not competed in the ring and underwent a makeover at the hands of her adversary. Fans eagerly await updates on her recovery and potential return to action. In an update on the WWE status of Ricochet, who will see his contract expire soon, Mike Johnson reported that PWInsider.com has confirmed with multiple sources that WWE's Ricochet has given notice that he intends to exit the company when his current contract expires this summer. We are told that Ricochet is expected to be written out of WWE storylines very soon in advance of the contract expiration. Ricochet is currently part of WWE's Raw brand. Over the course of his WWE run, Ricochet has held the WWE Intercontinental Championship, the United States Championship, the WWE NXT North American Championship, and was the inaugural WWE Speed Champion. He and Aleister Black won the 2019 WWE NXT Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Ricochet signed with WWE back in 2018 after memorable runs in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he won the 2014 Best of the Super Juniors Tournament, Evolve, Dragon Gate, and Lucha Underground, where he held the LU Championship twice and was the centerpiece of the El Rey Network series as the Masked Prince Puma. Ricochet's New Japan run included a celebrated bout against Will Ospreay, now in AEW, that could obviously be revisited once Ricochet is free and clear contractually. Ricochet was also the first ever House of Glory champion. One source we spoke with said they were giving Ricochet all the credit in the world for betting on himself. One would think he'll quickly be a hot commodity as a free agent. Of course, AEW International Champion Will Ospreay had previously said this regarding WWE's booking of Ricochet. "I keep up with him all the time, and sometimes I get a little bit sad about it. I hope he's not sad, and I hope he's real happy. I keep up with him as much as I can, but I feel like people are forgetting who Ricochet was once upon a time. All of these high flyers that you see, and myself included, we all took inspiration from Pac and Ricochet. The fact that they only value his time for under 5 minutes is appalling to me. I just want people to remember who he is. If you go and look at 2012-2013 Dragon Gate Ricochet, he was untouchable at the time. When it came to this generation of high flyers, he was the greatest. He's the greatest high flyer ever. I know it sounds weird, but I do put him on the same level as Rey Mysterio." Ringside News wrote this in regards to AEW's reaction to Ricochet being set to become a free agent. AEW stands out as a prime destination where Ricochet could thrive, sparking discussions about the likelihood of the promotion initiating talks with him. Although formal negotiations have yet to commence, Fightful Select reports chatter among AEW personnel suggest an interest in Ricochet joining their ranks, despite his ongoing contractual ties with WWE. Furthermore, New Japan Pro Wrestling is also rumored to be eyeing a potential deal with Ricochet. AEW staff and talent backstage this past week were talking about the possibility of Ricochet joining the company. We haven't heard that there had been official talks of the sort. Ricochet Ricochet is still under contract with WWE, and we're told that nothing is an impossibility, but as of Friday, all indications were that he decided to leave the company. This was said when it comes to plans in WWE creatively for the star. According to a new report from Fightful Select, preemptive creative actions have been taken within WWE to facilitate Ricochet's departure. This was evidenced by his loss of the WWE Speed Championship to Andrade during the recent SmackDown tapings. Alternative creative strategies are also reportedly being considered to write off Ricochet from WWE TV should the need arise. One proposal under discussion involves a storyline on Raw where Braun Breaker would incapacitate Ricochet. However, it's worth noting that creative plans are subject to change. For more information, this was said on F4W Online. The relationship between WWE and Ricochet might not be done yet after all, after reporting came out Saturday night that the current Speed Champion had given his notice to WWE that he would not be returning once his contract expired this summer. Our Dave Meltzer is reporting that according to those close to the situation, everything is up in the air. The initial PW Insider report had cited multiple sources in stating the 35-year-old had told WWE he was not coming back after his current deal was up. Since that report, this is the first indication that might not be the case. The news had some excited that Ricochet could potentially rematch with old rival Will Ospreay in AEW, or perhaps return to the rings of NJPW. Ricochet has been in the WWE system since January 2018 and has held the Intercontinental title, the United States title, and the NXT North American title in addition to the Speed title. His fiancée, Samantha Irvin, is currently a WWE ring announcer. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all later.